lecture, we will be looking at some array methods. So JavaScript have some built-in functions that we can use in the arrays, and those functions are called methods, or you can call them as array operations. So there are countless array methods available out there, but we will be using the basic ones at least for now, because we already have a dedicated section for arrays where we will be diving deeper into the arrays and we will be knowing all about arrays in that section. So you might already guess this is how important arrays are, because we already have a separate section for arrays only. Okay, so to kick start, let's look into the basic array methods, because that's it's what you need to know to getting started with the array methods. Okay, so let's pick this example here back. Okay, so let's start with adding the elements at the end and the start of the array. Okay, so for adding the elements at the end, what we use is push method, which is already available in the friends in the array basically. See, right after writing this dot, I got these many methods. So in this, we are going to use this push. So what it will do, whatever we write inside of this push, it will simply add that element at the last. Okay, let's see. So after Raj, let's use Pulkit. And one more thing, so what push does, right after inserting a new element here, it returns the recent, or we can say the latest length of the array. So for example, right now the length of the array is 5, so this will return the length of the array as 6. Okay, so let's see this first. Let's console log. Friends array. Okay, so now we got 6 records and we got this Pulkit added at the end. Okay, and now as I mentioned, let's see what this push returns. Okay, so let's console log this as well. So this will return the latest array length. Okay, after adding the new element. So let's see. So here we got the latest length of the array, which we can already see here, but just to show you, like this push returns the latest length, we stored it in some variable and we logged it here. Okay, so now let's add some variable or something at the beginning. So for that, let's use unshift. So what unshift does, it adds a new element at the starting. Okay, so right above Gaurav, it will add something. So let's make it first. All right, so let's see what happens if we use first. And actually, let me write the comment on this as well. Adding at the start. So what it will do, it will basically add an element here itself. Let's see. Okay, sorry for that. Actually, I've commented out this last line. That's why I was getting this error. Let's quickly remove it. Yeah. So now we got this first name added at the beginning. Okay. With this unshift, and if I store it in some variable, then let's see what happens, what this unshift returns. So again, it returned us the latest length of the array. Okay, after adding the new element. Okay, so now we got to know how we can add, or how we can at the beginning or at the last some elements in the array. And this is not just a string, we can add anything like any number, any um, array, or anything we can add. Because from the last lecture, if you remember, we can add or remove um, any expression in the array, because it expects the expressions in the indexes, right? Let me show you an example quickly for that as well, just to remind you. We can pass an empty array. Okay, so if I see again inside of this array at the first position, we got an array stored here. Okay, yeah. So now let's see how we can remove the elements. Let's leave it here, self commented. And so to remove any element from the end, adding elements, 1 second. So let me quickly copy this comment for your reference. Okay, so here what we'll be doing, we'll be removing an element from the end. Okay, so to remove that, there is a method called pop. Okay, and in the pop, we don't need to enter any argument. Okay, we just need to use this method like this only. Okay, and then what it will do, it will remove the last element of the array. Okay, and it will return that last element, so that we can store it somewhere in case you require it according to your coding needs. Okay, so if I um, refresh the browser now, then you can see Raj is gone from this array. It contains only 4 names, right? Again, if I use it, then let's see what happens. Now the John also gone from this array. And as I said already, this pop returns the last element popped from the array. Okay, so let's store it in some variable and let's see. So now let's comment this one to make sure we get Raj only. If I refresh, so it removed Raj from the array, and then in the last element we are getting Raj. So it is clearly saying Raj is removed from the array because it returned the last element. Okay, so this is about removing the element from the end. Now let's remove the element from the starting. To remove an element from the start, what we use is shift. Okay, here also we don't need to pass any argument because we already know it removes the first one only. Okay, So now if I use this shift, then what do you think will happen? Obviously it will remove the first one only, that means this Gaurav. So let's refresh and see. Okay, so it removed Gaurav from the array, and we have already stored it in some variable. So that means whatever element it removed from the array, it returned from this shift method. Okay, so that we can store it in some variable, and we were able to see in the logs like which element got removed from the array. Okay, I hope you guys are clear now. So the shift we use to remove element from the start, and it returns the removed element. Pop also we use to remove element from the end, and it also returns the removed element. Unshift is used to add something at the start, and it returns the updated length of the array. Push we use to add something at the end, and this also returns the latest length of the array. Okay, so let me write here somewhere for your reference in case you are getting confused. Push unshift latest length of the array. Okay, and here let's write pop shift returns the removed element from the array. And apart from adding or removing some elements from the start or end, we can also check the index of the particular elements. Suppose there is a huge array and you want to see the index of some element, then how we can do that? Let's see. Let's take it back here. Okay, so we don't need this. So here in console directly we will see. So to check the index, we have a method called index of. Okay, so here all we need to do is we just need to pass the element to get the index of that element. Okay, let's refresh and see. So here we're trying to see the index of Rajiv. So the expected index is 1 because it is at 1 index. From here also let's verify. So after removing Gaurav, it was at 0. So earlier it was at 1 only. Okay, so let's refresh. Okay, so now we got the index of Rajiv, which is 1. If I console log the whole array, then you will get a clear idea. So this is our array of 5 names, and here the index of Rajiv is 1, and that is what this index of gave us. Okay, so this index of also returns the index which we can store somewhere in case you wanna use it. Now there is one more method which came into the ES6, which basically validates if that particular element is present in the array or not. Okay, that is includes. So let's see. To check if array or not. Okay, and it returns a boolean value. If the element is present in the array, then it returns simply true, otherwise it returns false. Okay, so let's check that as well. So right now I'm not going to store it in some variable, I'm just directly logging it in the console. Okay, if you wish, then you can practice. While practicing, you can store it in some variable and you can see the logs, like what it is giving after returning. Okay, so now let's comment this one out. Includes Rajiv. Okay, so now what we are checking is if this array includes Rajiv. If it does, then let's see what happens. Okay, so it gave us true, right? Let's write some other name which is not there in this array. Gaurav, Raj, Mike, John. Let's write Pratik. Okay, so this Pratik name is not there in the array. So let's see what happens. Okay, so it returned false here. Okay, and one more thing I wanted to tell you guys regarding this includes, that it does perform the strict comparison. Okay, so that means, let me show you an example of the strict comparison as well. So for example, you have pushed some value, let's say friends dot push string of 23. Okay, so now we are pushing string of 23. Let's copy this, paste here, and let's see the array. Okay, so now we have string of 23 here. If I try to log this again, but if I pass number 23, then let's see what happens. Okay, see, it gave us false because it is doing strict comparison here. Even though you are passing the same thing, but its type is different here. It is of type string, it is of type number. So it clearly said we don't have any such variable, boss. So what you need to do is you need to pass the exact type as well. Okay, so if I pass the 23 of type string, then only it will give us true. Okay, so it performs the strict comparison. This is what you need to keep in mind while using this includes. Okay, so this is all I need to tell you, at least for now, guys. Okay, so um, you guys can apply it in the next coming coding challenge. So see you there.